every Sunday at 5:30 p.m. with Dr. Martha J. The Habit Loop will be at the center of every discussion. Learn how it affects your development. Labitil with Dr. Martha J. every Sunday at 5:30 p.m.
It is now in Dominica and the rest of the Eastern Caribbean. It is now 5:30. We now go across to Martha J to bring you the next scheduled program, La Habitil. Martha J, good afternoon and Happy New Year.
Good afternoon and thank you, sir. Happy New Year to you as well.
Thank you.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you. Welcome to another episode of Labitil Habits That Count. It's a place where we examine issues and concerns and we identify practices and habits that we can implement to fix them or to achieve some level of success. I am your host, Dr. Martha J, and I want to say to you today that Labitil is brought to you by Leonard Taxi Services of St. Thomas. He provides reliable and affordable service. So if you stop in St. Thomas anytime, need a taxi, look out for Leonard Taxi Services. And also Budding Writers Academy. Budding Writers Academy is a professional development firm, I should say, or institution where we provide professional development to parochial schools, public schools, private schools. We also engage in government contracting. We take care of whatever your needs are. If it's in emotional learning, literacy, digital learning, whatever your needs are, we make an effort. We have a team of qualified presenters that will take care of your needs. We are coming to you live from via DBS Radio. DBS, we are streaming live on the internet, Facebook or YouTube. And whether you're listening on the airwaves of DBS Radio in Dominica, in the Caribbean, in the diaspora, or anywhere, wherever you listen, we want to say thank you so much for your listen today. And if you want to call locally in Dominica, the number to call is 448-3284 or 1-800-327. And in the diaspora, if you want to reach out, you can call 305-432-9744. Today, we're taking a closer look at resolutions. So first of all, I want to say Happy New Year to all of you listeners, whether you're listening, wherever you're listening. Happy New Year to you, and I wish you the best for 2025. I just want to say to you, if once a week you try your best to practice some kindness, gratitude, appreciation, love, and service. If you serve someone, all of those things, they're like karma. It's going to come right back to you. So practice. If you try your best at least throughout 1995, one time a week, kindness, gratitude, appreciation, love, service. Think about it. And I think you're going to thank me by the end of 2025. You will see that all of those things are like karma. They come right back to you. Okay. So that's my little tidbit for you today. But today we're going to talk more about resolutions. You know, the first few weeks in January, everybody's talking about a New Year's resolution. And I want to ask, does it really count? And the next thing I wanted to ask, is there a formula to make it work? And I want to say yes to both of these. Yes, resolutions count. And yes, there is a formula that it can work by. So first of all, I want to ask, what is a resolution? Resolution is an affirmation. It's a decision, a firm decision, not just a decision, a firm decision to do or not do something. You're going to say, this year I am not going to, or this year I am going to. So people might say, this year I am not going to engage in all that drinking that I did last year, or this year I am going to save some money. So it could be, it's a firm decision as to do or not do something. And usually it's for your individual and personal goals. Okay, so resolutions are not new. So thousands of years ago, the Babylonians, they would, at the beginning of the year, they would make a vow to their gods that they would be good. And they would say, if they're good, then the God's going to protect them. And of course, you know, like us too, they too didn't last the entire year. And when a disaster would come, they would say, oh, we got that disaster because we didn't keep our resolutions. If you think of biblically as well, the children of Israel, they would say, okay, God, we're going to be good. And then it would say they would do it for a few months and then they would go back and they would forget and they would go back to their old ways. And then the Bible would say that they did that which was evil in the sight of God. So resolutions have been around. They're not new, they're not modern, they've been there, and people have always had struggles with them. But what I want to do first, I want to look at some statistics from, this is going to be North American because that's where I picked it up from. And it's based on a survey by the Columbia University in the United States. They said that 23% of people quit their resolutions by the end of the first week. Now it's not yet 7 days. 7 days is going to be in 2 days. So some of you, your resolutions probably still going on strong. But they said 23%. Well, first of all, they said about 50% of people make resolutions. The other 50 don't care about it. But of those 50%, 23% of them forget about that by the end of the first week. 43% quit by the end of January. So by the time January finished, 43% of them, they've done with that. They say only about 25% of people actually stay committed to their resolutions after just 30 days. Okay, and again, that's according to the Columbia University. And then they say fewer than 10% accomplish it. So normally when you say something, it's usually for the entire year. And they say about 10% or less than 10% of people actually accomplish those goals. But I want to say something, I want to echo something that author Justin Hale said. He said that resolutions often fail because people never turn them into habits. So, I agree with him because this entire program is called L'Habitude for a purpose. It's talking about habits that count. So your resolutions will only work if you take the time to formulate habits. And here's the warning. People say, well, actually, it's been, researched, that if you do something for 21 days or for 3 weeks, it becomes a habit. But guess what? If you did not replace the old habit, if you try to set up a new habit, I don't know how those two are going to work. They're going to be fighting with each other. Because if you said that you're not going to drink or you're going to stop drinking alcohol, but you didn't pay attention to the habit formation loop, most likely you're going to be still drinking alcohol. And if you say you're going to start eating properly, you might still eat properly, but not as you're supposed to. So the idea today is to help you take your time and understand how to formulate a habit or how to look at resolution in a different light. So first of all, I want to go back to the habit loop. And of course, you know that I like Charles Duhigg. He is the author of The Power of Habit. And one of the things he always talks about the habit loop. So you have the cue, the routine, and the reward. The cue is that when you do that particular thing or what triggers you to do that particular thing. The routine is that thing that you do, the habit that you're trying to break or replace. And the reward, of course, is that satisfaction that you get when you do or you engage in that particular thing. According to the statistics, again, one of the two greatest areas that people usually make commitments to is for eating healthier and saving money. We can talk about saving money another time, but today we're going to talk about eating healthy. I'm going to use that as the example to walk you through how you can create or carve your resolution in a way that you will be successful by the end of 2025. All right. So the first thing I want you to do is to think of, we're going to take eating, for example, as the example we're going to work on today. And we're going to look at your routine first. So the routine is what it is that you're doing. So we say that you are eating bad. So the first thing you want to do is identify the routine or the habit that you want to change, right? We want to change our eating habits. So the first thing you would have to do is to make a list of all of the foods you consider to be bad. So if it's processed food, you make a list of that. If you like a lot of high salt, high sodium foods, make a list of that. High sugar foods, you want to make a list of that. So for today, we want to look at just one food. So let's look at drinking high sugar drinks. So that's one of the things we want to change. That's the habit. All right. That's the routine. I always drink high sugar drinks, and I want to change that in 2025. Good. How do we do that? We've identified the routine. The next thing we want to identify is the cue. When do I tend to drink high sugar drinks? So according to Charles Duhigg, there are 5 times or 5 aspects that can help you to recognize your cue. It could be a location. So every time I go a certain place, I see that particular drink and I want it. Like in my case, every time I go to the Rosewood Market and I see these guys on their little trolley selling those turmeric drink and the sugar cane and the sour ale and the whatever they make. It could be somewhere else. Where do you go when you see that you just want it? You know it's high sugar content, but you want it. So that's one, a location. It could be a time. Maybe every time I'm having lunch, I just feel like I must have something sweet to drink. So that is also a cue. That's your when. It could also be an emotional state. When I feel hungry, when I feel thirsty, or when I feel upset, I just want something sweet to drink. That's another cue. It could also be when you're around people. For example, during this Christmas, you're around your friends, everybody has sweet sorrel, you know, it has a whole pound of sugar in it, it's too much for you, but you're around other people, and so you are drinking that high sugar drink. And it could be after a certain action. So for example, there was an action that preceded, you walked. You went to walk through the city and you're tired, you're hot, and you're like, oh, I feel thirsty, I want something sweet, and so you drink it. So these are 5 areas you can think of to be able to identify when do I normally to take that high sugar drink. Is it because of a place, a time, an emotional state, when I'm around other people, or is it after I walk, or after I eat, or after, what is that thing that it precedes? Once you've identified those 2 things, so once we've identified 2 things, the one which is the routine, I drink high sugar foods, and the other one is the when, I drink it after a particular time. The next thing you want to think of is the reward. Why am I drinking this sweet thing? Well, I just feel so good. You have this refreshing or this satisfying taste. So I drink that sweet or that cold, ice cold Fanta, and man, that nothing can replace that. So you just always want it because it gives you that satisfying feeling. So you've identified the cue, the routine, and then the reward. But now you want to just tell yourself, okay, so when I drink that sweet drink after I eat, I feel good. So we know we have those 3 things. Now you want to tell yourself, how am I going to replace that? I said that I want to change. I want to drink sugar-free or less sugar or something of that stuff. This is where you're going to need willpower. So you're going to tell yourself, okay, I am going to have to replace the routine, which is the high sugar drink. I can think of 3 things I can think of. I can either drink water, but if I drink water after I eat, am I going to have that same feeling of satisfaction? When you try the water and it didn't work, you know that, you didn't feel that reward. Trust me, that resolution is not going to work because the reward did not work. It didn't feel rewarding. So let's suppose you try coconut water. Okay, maybe I should have some coconut water there and I'll drink it maybe every time after I eat, or every time I go to the market in town and I see these guys selling stuff, I'd say, okay, give me a coconut water instead. If that's the time, right? And then, or you might say, okay, there's no coconut water. Let me choose a drink with less calories and less sugar content. I'm going to give you a story. I like to see, when I see ginseng in a bottle, I want it so bad because it reminds me of the Caribbean and I want it. But when I pick it up, it's like 54 grams of sugar. Come on. What's the point of going to drink ginseng when I said when I said that I am going to lower my high sugar content? I have to make sure that I'm paying attention to the sugar at the back of that bottle. Is sometimes it's not accurate. But I want to replace it for low calorie and low sugar content. Now, what am I going to do? I have to think of, I need to use willpower. So the next thing we have to do. So number one, we identify the routine. Number two, we look for the cue. Number three, we look for the reward. Number four, we are replacing it with something. But number five, we want to have willpower. Willpower is the ability to be able to be strong. You know what? I see that sorrel. I know it has 54 grams of sugar. I'm not going to drink it. I am going to take coconut water instead. Do I have that willpower, that self-control, or am I just impulsive? So in other words, in order for your resolution to work, you need to think habit. You need to think willpower. You can't just get up and just say, oh, I'm going to stop drinking sugar drinks. No, you got to plan it well. So willpower is what you need to make sure that you can avoid that impulse. There's a marshmallow, I think it was where scientists decided to check on kids by putting a marshmallow there and tell them, if you didn't eat it, then we'll give you more. If you didn't eat that one, we'll give you two, so you can have one to give to somebody else. And you saw those kids taking the marshmallow, they smell it and put it back down, smell it and put it back down. But they were checking on these kids' willpower. And what they found out, the kids who were able to last in the room for 30 minutes without eating the marshmallow, these kids were more successful adults. So if we as adults can develop willpower and stick to that resolution or stick to that habit that we're trying to form, we become more successful, not just in that area, but in life generally. So if you don't have a willpower, I want to encourage you to learn how to stick through things when you do it, when you say you're going to do it. So once you've had that plan to replace it and you build your willpower, then what you're going to try to do is to do it for at least 3 weeks. That's when the 3 weeks come in. If you can do it for 3 weeks, scientists believe that it takes the brain at least 3 weeks or 21 days to create or to formulate a habit. So if you formulate that habit at that time, then most likely you are going to sustain that resolution. Okay? Let's check to see if anybody wants us on. All right. So once you've developed that willpower, what we want to do. We want to make sure, the next thing you want to do is to make sure you have an accountability partner. But we want to say that you also need to celebrate small wins. So at the end of 3 weeks, you would notice, and I can guarantee you, that your sugar level would be down and your blood sugar level would be down. You would also notice that your weight would be down, because you would be so surprised. You'd be surprised to know that the amount of calories you have in sugar. So because of all of that, you would experience weight loss and you would experience lower blood sugar content. That is enough for you to celebrate, right? And so it would encourage you to continue for another 3 weeks. And you want to do it in 3-week intervals. And you want to do that then you can pick another food. It's like, okay, at the end of 3 weeks, I am certain that I have my high sugar drink under control. I want to pick another food, because remember, my goal is to eat better by the end of 2025. So now I can pick another food. I can say, okay, I do not want any more fast food. When do I eat fast foods? Okay, when I'm on the road with my kids or when I'm on the road with friends. So you identify the routine, which is eating fast foods. The when I'm with friends, when I'm with my kids, when I am feeling stressed out, or when I'm tired, when I'm feeling depressed, when it is that you do it. So once you want to do, you've identified the next two, then the next thing you want to do again is, how do I feel when I eat fast food? Do I feel there's a satisfaction I feel? Well, let's see, what food can I replace that with and have that same satisfaction. Remember, if you're not having the satisfaction when you make that change, it's going to be very difficult to keep it, because a reward is always important. Okay? So I'm going to go back. I'm going to review. We're going to say you have your cue. You make sure you identify the cues, you identify the routine, you find a routine that you need to replace that routine with, make sure that it's rewarding, and make sure that you develop willpower, because willpower is that ability to to withstand the pressure. I went to my family and they have those high sugar drink, but I choose coconut water instead. They didn't have coconut water, I chose water. Or water didn't give me that satisfaction I wanted, I chose a low calorie drink. Now you can say that you've gotten it. You got to learn to push through it. And if alcohol was the case, and it's with other people, you're going to have to try and cut these people out, because if you know that you've been an alcoholic all of 2024 and you're trying to make that change 2025, and you know it's every time you go by that cabaret with your friends that you're drinking 6 and 7 drinks, my goodness, you're going to have to make up your mind that unless you walk with your drink when you go to that cabaret, you're going to have to cut it out, because you have to recognize the cue. When do I do it? Is it a place? Is it a time? Is it with other people? Is it when I'm feeling a particular way? Is it after I have done something? Some people, after they do something, they want that other thing. It could be smoking cigarettes. When do you smoke that cigarette? Is it a particular time? Is it a particular place? Is it when you are with a particular set of people? Is it after you've done something? Figure it out, and then think of something that you can replace that habit with that will provide the same kind of satisfaction. If it's not providing the same kind of satisfaction, it's very likely that you're going to stop after a few days. So that's why they have things like, for people who smoke, they have things like Chantix or whatever those things are. Those gums, they have those other things that people can take that gives them the same kind of satisfaction as if they had smoken a cigarette or as if they had taken some form of nicotine. There's a reason why they make those things, because they put things in it to make you feel a particular way. So feelings are important when it comes to resolutions. You don't just get up tomorrow and just say, I'm going to do this that way. No, you got to plan it. All right, you have to plan it. So what I want to say to you is, make sure that in order for your resolution to work, you need to take your time. Look at what research is saying about the brain, because the brain likes rewards, right? When you get a reward, you're tapping into that dopamine and those neurotransmitters that give you that feeling, that nice feeling, that feeling of accomplishment, that feeling of satisfaction. Excuse me. So if that new habit or that new routine is not tapping into that dopamine and that neurotransmitter, you are probably going to last by the 5th of January, you're done. Or by the 7th of January, you're done. That's because you have not taken your time to do it right. Okay? Another thing I want to talk to you about is small wins. I think I mentioned it a while ago. So at the end of the 3 weeks, a small win is something that you celebrate. Don't just keep going and going and going and not celebrate. Oh, I did it for 3 weeks and that happened. I feel good. Tap yourself on your back. What I used to do, excuse me, when I started, I was on a weight loss journey, and I'll talk about that another time. But that's one of the things I had to do. What I would do to reward myself, I would purchase something in advance. I would say, okay, this is a medium size that you will wear in 1 week. I like it. I see it on the shelf. And I would not buy the size that I am at the time, because that's not the size I desire to be. I desire to be a medium. So I would do that as my reward. So that's one of the ways I would reward myself for my small win. So if I say by the end of that month, I need to have lost 5 pounds, then I have something that I would reward myself with by the end of those months. And that's what we mean when we say celebrate small wins. Yes, you wanted to lose 50 pounds, yeah, but 50 pounds is going to take you a whole year or more. So celebrate 5 pounds with something that's not going to give you weight. Don't celebrate 5 pounds with ice cream, of course. Celebrate losing 5 pounds with something else. Probably, something that you always wanted to buy yourself and you didn't. So make sure that you do it that way. Okay? So celebrating small wins help. It gives you that motivation to keep going on. During the month of January, we want to go ahead and look at some other aspects of resolution forming. We will look at how do we do it with money. For those of you who would want to save more money in 2025, we will take a look at how do you create resolutions for saving money. Do you just go ahead and save money and not consider places that you've been using up too much money? And that's why we say a resolution, yes, you can save money, but you would have to make changes. That's why we talk about replacing habits. So think about whatever that habit is that you want to change. I want you to take a look at that today. Think of that routine, that habit that you told yourself in 2025, I want to break that particular habit. Write it down. After you've written down that habit, which is the routine, you want to take your time and look at when do I engage in that particular habit. Is it a time? Is it a place? Is it when I'm around people? Is it when I feel a certain way? Is it after I have done something? And once you've pinpointed that, the next thing you want to do is, how do I feel after I have engaged in that? What is that satisfaction that I feel? Is there something that I can replace that with that's going to make me feel that way? Then you have to begin to play around with rewards, see what it is, what can I give myself to make sure I feel that exact way. And then you will find yourself practicing it for a few weeks. Use willpower, because willpower is that ability, that strength that you deal. It's like that strength, that inner strength, that refusal to break. I'm not going to do it. I know my brothers are there or my sisters are there and they have that great drink that I like, but I'm not going to take it because I know that it's high sugar content. Or I'm not going in that area because I know these guys drink and they drink hard and I've already stopped drinking for 2 weeks. I'm not going to mess with that. You have to make up your mind that you are going to avoid that particular thing, that location, that cue. You got to make sure that you can figure that out before you get yourself in a mess. And trust me, resolutions work. Resolutions are worth making, but you cannot make them without you plan them. You've got to plan your resolution. You got to plan how you progress. You got to find an accountability partner, somebody who's going to tell you, how is that going? For weight loss, I've had to go to someone twice a week just to check on me to see, okay, have you been eating this? Have you been drinking that? Have you been exercising? Have you been waking up early? All of those things, you have somebody to check on me. Otherwise, there are days when I don't feel like doing stuff. Okay? So we'll talk about weight loss by itself. I bring somebody who has gone through the transformation and talk to those of us who would like to continue on a weight loss journey and been struggling all those years and months, to see how we can decide to build willpower and to make sure that we can sustain our resolution and be successful. So join us for the rest of January. We will be talking about other aspects like how to save money, how to lose weight, how to study, how to stay and be successful in any area of life. But we will make sure we pay attention to habit formation, the habit loop, your cue, your routine, your rewards, your willpower, your small wins, and of course, your accountability partner. You've been listening to Labitil, Habits That Count. It's a place where we help each other to become better at what we do. And so today, I want to say to you, if you have a resolution already, go back to it, revisit it, and make sure that you can pay attention to those things that you need to do so that it can succeed. I like to say to you, until next time, show kindness to at least one person. And of course, if you plant something in 2025, it will grow. And of course, try to show gratitude during the year, show kindness, love somebody, serve somebody, and all of us life is going to be better for all of us. Again, I'm your host, Dr. Martha J. You've been listening to Labby Till. Don't forget to like us on Facebook and, of course, look for us on Spotify or wherever you listen to your podcasts. Thank you and bye-bye.
Labby Till, Habits That Count, every Sunday at 5:30 p.m. with Dr. Martha J. The Habit Loop will be at the center of every discussion. Learn how it affects your development. Labby Till with Dr. Martha J. every Sunday at 5:30 p.m.
Excuse me. It is now 6 o'clock. You've been listening to Martha J and La Habit Till. Join DBS Radio again next Sunday for another presentation if you can.